that is a way to start it. Thank you very much. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And we are here at the Marina Bay at Singapore for UFRL in Tier 1. That was a fantastic way to start things off here for short qualifying before we get down to the nitty gritty and the race, of course. Championship battle at the front of the field is edging closer now. Hazer has overtaken Pesci for that championship lead, but the battle is just 6 points between them, and indeed it is perfectly timed. Yes, hope you are all doing very well, and let's see how things go. I mean, I say that. that session will start in 0 seconds. It's been there for quite some time. There you go, it's finally moved on. That took a bit of time, didn't it? Right, let's see. I imagine that was just a tyre allocation screen. So now we are into the session. Let's get things all up and running then. So yeah, 6 points separating Pesci and Hazer. Pesci behind Hazer in that championship. Maybe don't rule out the likes of Lynx in particular, then Merc and Mr. P are a little bit further adrift. But it certainly looks like the top two, potentially Lynx as well, are in the running. But then if there's DNFs before the end of the season from the likes of Hazer and Pesci, particularly both of them, they both get a DNF or two, then the likes of Lynx, Merc, Mr. P might all be back in this championship fight. So let's see how things go. Good evening to Bad Boy as well. Best of luck to both Mr. P and Bad Boy out there on the track. We can go directly on board with Hazer in the AlphaTauri. First driver out, he normally is in all fairness to him. And the Alfa Romeo of Gandalf, reserving from Tier 2 tonight, is the second driver out onto the circuit. Of course, a very high downforce street circuit around here. You typically have the highest wings possible. Some may try and drop particularly the rearing a little bit to maybe the mid 40s, but the majority will be running as much downforce as possible. So let's see how they get on at this high downforce track. Just make sure everything's all good there. Yep, all good. Right. So yeah, quite a few drivers are now heading out onto the circuit as well. So you've also got the Mercedes, and that is the form of Yoshi. Haven't seen him in a while in all fairness, so good to see him back in and racing the Aston Martin. And that is Steve Lane. The Red Bull, both Red Bulls in fact, are currently out on track. One Red Bull just overtook the McLaren of Pesci. So there you go. I wonder if that will happen in the race or not. I mean, it could happen, who knows. But Bad Boy and Lynx have Pesci for company. And Pesci is just in that Red Bull sandwich at the moment. And two Alpine drivers also heading out onto the track in the form of Tajani and Coffee, the two Flying Dutchmen. But we can go directly on board, first of all, with Hazer. And good evening also, Sergeant Devsey, looking forward to another good race, hopefully, fingers crossed. Tough track this one though, particularly for the overtakes. And Hazer on the run down to turn 1, typically takes it nice and smoothly. Can he get himself a pole position this evening? Which again, is worth a bonus point, of course. Hazer looking nice and sturdy through Sector 1. And now on to potentially the best overtaking opportunity come the actual race. And let's see what the end of Sector 1, the split time is a 26.848, which of course will be purple. Let's compare that with Gandalf. I know he's not a Tier 1 driver, 27.3 for him. Let's go back towards Hazer then. But yeah, I think you would imagine a gap obviously between Hazer and Gandalf just because Tier 1 and Tier 2, same with myself. The only one I think Tier 2 I really think could be up there competing with the Tier 1s often. Maybe not at the front, but they would be able to really put in a good job, would be Ghost. It just depends on his consistency though. But he is the one driver that I would look at from Tier 2 and say he could definitely be thrown in at a deep end in Tier 1. Again, maybe not with the front runners, but he could do a good job. And again, purple, of course, in Sector 2 is Hazer. Can you check if I'm lagging? Yes, I can. No lag from what I'm seeing right now. I will go back to you. I just want to finish off the Hazer lap, and it is a 29.176. Let's see if I go back to track. I know his teammate is just crossing the line now. It's a 31.4. Let's go back towards him and just see. It looks okay from what I'm seeing. I'm sure other drivers will be able to know come the race, but from what I'm seeing, it seems all okay. Let's go towards the Mercedes of Yoshi. It's a 30.6, but C-Lane goes quicker with a 130.349. But yeah, I do believe your connection seems okay. Again, only from what I'm seeing. Pesci now is going to go quicker. 129.115, and he's about 600ths of a second faster than the AlphaTauri of Hazer at this moment in time. And the Red Bull of Bad Boy settles in to go third fastest, but it's the top two in the championship who are leading the way here at Singapore with 13 minutes to go. Just 5 minutes into the session here. But here comes the Alpine, and here comes Tajani. Wizard Rex also just starting a lap in that McLaren. And here comes the Dutchman, and he goes 6 fast of 130.8. And that will be a lap started by Destroyer Draclan as Coffee goes up into the top 5. A 130.367. Very close between himself and the Aston Martin of C-Lane, who currently occupies P4. Drop further down and see Mr. Poem's first hot lap as well. How many hot laps do you want to go for around here? Do you want to go for 2? Do you want to go for 3? There are yellow flags, however, in the back end of Sector 2. But we stick with this lap from the Aston Martin. Here comes Poem across the line, and he's into the top 3. A 130.038. But again, the gap between the top 2 and the rest of the field looks quite substantial at this moment in time. Let's have a little look at the McLaren of Wizard Rex. Or the Alfa Romeo. Where is Destroyer Drac? Is he behind him? Yes, he is. So we'll go back towards Wizard Rex then and see if he can go quicker than any of those in, well, between P3 and P9, because that's where the gap is currently at about 8.5 tenths of a second between Hazer and Mr. Poem. But then, yeah, it's very competitive further down, but the top 2 are flying clear at the moment. And let's just stick with Wizard Rex. I think the AlphaTauri, potentially Rusted Bolt. Did he? No, he's just out on track now. I think Hazer is running for another hot lap. He does tend to go for 2 early hot laps. But here comes the McLaren of Wizard Rex, and he goes into the top 5 with a 130.267. And next up is the Alfa Romeo, and it will be, of course, Destroyer Drac. Alfa Romeo will be renamed, of course, as Stake for next season. And absolutely cooking with a 130.572. Maybe not so much, but it's still P8 at a relatively decent time. I'm sure he will find more performance out of that vehicle. And the Mercedes of Kennedy has invalidated his time as well. Let's go back towards Hayes, and then his second hot lap on the same set of tyres. But again, he does often do this strategy. So let's see what he can do. What about the Red Bull as well? Bad Boy still in P4. But that might be Link's Peace preparing to start his first lap as well. So back towards the AlphaTauri of Hazer. Rusted Bolt also will start a lap behind Link's Peace. So those two will be ones to watch. And what about Hazer? It was purple through Sector 2. And let's see if the AlphaTauri can go quicker than his championship rival Pesci at the top of the standings. Again, just 6 points between them. And here in qualifying, getting ever so close to the wall there, the AlphaTauri. But Hazer will now come to the line, and he will go quickest. A 128.846. And he's on pole, or provisional pole, by about 3 tenths of a second ahead of the McLaren of Pesci, who is now just back out onto the track. And Wizard Rex will come across the line, but he's not improving and heads directly into the pit lane. And what about the Alfa Romeo Destroyer Jack? I do envision quite similarly. Indeed, he also heads into the pit lane. And further adrift, then you've got Kennedy on a hot lap, you've got Link's Peace on a hot lap, and you've got Rusted Bolt up ahead on a hot lap as well. There is also a Williams, potentially Merc, who we've yet to see put in a lap time today. I don't know if he's got his battery on, but he's on an out lap. Did he have his battery on momentarily? Has he still got it on? I don't normally see, if you have your battery off, it shouldn't be going down. And it was going to the mid-90s there. Interesting to see. Anyways, maybe you just wanted us to have something to look at. Who knows? Alright, back to Rusted Bolt. I mean, I'm sure there is very much stuff to look at. Let's see. Hazer can be beaten. He is not a robot. He can be beaten. Friday night proved it. But then again, Saturday night he was back to his normal self. Here comes Rusted Bolt then across the line, and he goes only 10th fastest. And Kennedy across the line in the Mercedes, only P12. But Link's Peace is a threat, but he's not on a hot lap. That's probably why I did think he was ahead of the AlphaTauri of Rusted Bolt on track. And now it makes a bit more sense. Hazer then will dive into the pit lane. And let's see Pesci also starting his very own hot lap here this evening. But Hazer is beatable, but it will be a challenge from everybody, that's for sure. So who is on a lap? Rusted Bolt is now taking it slowly. Steel Lane is not in the pit lane, sorry. Steel Lane is just coming out of the first couple of corners then. And he'll be heading onto the DRS straight. So Yoshi also just starting a lap, and you've got the Alpine of Tajani about to start his own lap. I think maybe we just stick with Link's Peace here with his Red Bull teammate Bad Boy about to start a lap as well. Plenty of drivers are starting their laps, but Link's Peace is the one who seems to be furthest along. And let's see what time he can set. Maybe Merc as well. No, Merc is further ahead, but not using any battery. Again, quite a theme with the Williams driver this season. Link's Peace and purple through sector 2. How truthful is that purple sector? We know he has got pace. Does he have enough pace to inflict some damage on the top 2 drivers in the championship and in this evening's standings? Let's see what he could do, but he clashes with the wall, and that may have ended his pole qualifying hopes. And Link's Peace goes into the pits. Only 7 minutes remaining now. And he might only get one more run out of things if he can't get out quickly enough. But we are going to go to the man currently occupying P2 in the championship. P2 tonight. Here comes Pesci. It's only second place. It's a 28.937. He's back within a 10th of Hazer. But it's not enough to take away a provisional pole position. And now, let's see Gandalf just starting a lap, and as is his Alfa Romeo teammate Destroyer Drac. And you've got the 2 Mercedes coming round. Yoshi struggling, and Kennedy is also into the pits behind. Interesting calls. And what about the Alpine as Tajani is on a hot lap, and here he comes. Will he go quicker? It's a 1:30.0. It's P6. It's ever so close between Poem, Bad Boy, Steel Lane and Tajani. But it's only 6 fastest for the Alpine. But he's well within a 10th of a second of the trio up ahead. And now we go towards Coffee. He is improving. And Coffee goes third fastest. He's the 3rd driver to set a sub 1:30. Great time from the Dutchman. And onto the 2nd row he goes. Absolutely brilliant lap there. And let's see what Merc can deliver here. Pushing all the way and edging close to the wall as well in the meantime. But here comes the Williams driver, Merc across the line, and he's into the top 3 himself. It's a 1:29.743. It's about a 10th faster than Coffee as well. And the Aston Martin of Mr. Poem is also starting a lap, and Wizard Rex across the line to start a lap as well. Let's go down towards the AlphaTauri of Rusted Bolt, also about to finish his lap time. Where would he fare in that car? He goes 3rd fastest as well. 29.628. And the times are coming in thick and fast here. And they are getting faster. There is no denial of that. And Destroyer Jack now takes P3 himself. Everybody's just taking P3. And that gap to the top 2 is beginning to close. Destroyer Jack a 1:29.552. It may still be 6/10 of a second. But not too long ago, it was over a second. So Coffee has gone quicker, Merc went quicker, Bolt went quicker, and Destroyer Drac goes quicker as well. Add to the Alpine again to Johnny, however, running slowly. And Gandalf now coming across the line, and he will settle and remain in P12, but he is using his battery now as well. And Bad Boy into the pits. He was only on an outlap. There can't be that long left in the session, you know, as well. So a lot of these drivers want to get in for that one final pole position push, or maybe just a push to start into the 2nd row for the majority. About 4.5 minutes of qualifying remaining. We just saw a little snippet of it there, and Wizard Rex is improving, but only marginally in sector 2. Will he go into the pits then, or will he end his lap? He's looking like he's going to finish his lap here, the McLaren, and Wizard Rex will go up to P7, and it's a 1:29.985. And again, another driver, sub 130. Mr. Poem also across the line and remains in P8, but starting to use some of his battery now. And let's go and have a little look. I would have a look at Gandalf, but I'm going to see what Destroyer Jack's up to, and he will probably go into the pits. So again, just under 4 minutes left now of qualifying, and I think this is the time when the majority will get one final attempt to go for pole, which would include this man, Hazer. He is perhaps, is he the furthest forward? Let's just double check on it. Wizard's not on a lap, Poem is on a lap, so actually we'll go with Mr. Poem. I don't believe Russ Bolt is on a lap, no it's not, and Hazer has just started his lap into turn 1 now. So it will be interesting to see what the AlphaTauri could do, but what can Poem do on his potentially final hot lap, unless he just wants to get himself into the pits and go for one final attempt. Let's see what he opts to do. But yeah, I think at the moment it's looking good for that top 2, Hazer and Pesci, but Link's Peace, you can't exactly discount him from a potential pole position shout. I know he did mess up, I suppose, his last attempt, but he is back out on track now, so Link's will be one to watch. Whether or not he can get pole will be a challenge, but he can certainly edge closer to that top 2, as can this man, Mr. Poem, and he will take the line, and it's 29.5, and he goes third fastest himself. There you go, they are all getting quicker now. Wizard Rex into the pit, so nobody bar Hazer is on a lap, and let's go with Hazer, but he's not on a lap. That's a bit of a lie. There you go. Not using any battery. One man who is using battery is the Red Bull of Lynx, as is the Mercedes of Kennedy. But Link's Peace then is the man that we shall go to and see what the man occupying P3 in a championship can do. Can he edge closer this evening in that championship standings towards Hazer and Pesci, or will he drift further away? Let's see what he can do. A little bit of wheel spin on the exit as well. Won't help the Red Bull, but it is one of those tracks where you can occasionally get a little bit of wheel spin, in fairness, but it wasn't much from the Red Bull, so he does keep it sturdy enough for the technical parts of a track in Sector 2, by far the most technical part of the track, and certainly the toughest sector for sure to get right. But now, as he's about to exit out of Sector 2, the AlphaTauri is just moving out of the way now. But again, that potentially may have been Hazer, although Hazer, I do believe, has just started his final lap. So we'll stick here with the Red Bull. Link's Peace will be the first driver to finish his qualifying session this evening. I don't think he's got any more time to go for another lap, so the Red Bull, this is it then, for Link's Peace across the line. It's a 29.2, and he goes third fastest onto the second row for the Red Bull driver then. And Hazer is indeed on the lap, and he is going quicker by 0.2 of a second, and here comes Kennedy, and only P14 for the Mercedes, a 1:30.553. That's not going to put him high up, is it? Bad Boy is not on a lap. Yoshi in that second Mercedes is, but not going to go any quicker. He has invalidated his time as well. So it will be qualifying done effectively for the Mercedes. He would have improved by over half a second, sadly for him. And Coffee and Merkel's are crossing the line to start their laps. And how about Destroyer Jack also beginning to start his lap? Gandalf will do the same. So most of the drivers now are starting their hot laps. Down to Tajani, improving by about 0.2 of a second, occupying P12 at this moment in time. The Dutchman should go with sub 1:30, but how high up? It's P6 for the Alpine of Tajani, and Rusted Bolt. It's not Rusted Bolt because Hazer does go quickest. It's a 1:28.348, and he is absolutely flying. 0.6 faster than Pesci, and Pesci was a 10th up in Sector 1, but he needs to go quicker than that if he wants to topple the charts. Coffee ends qualifying currently in P8. Look how close it is though between those drivers from Mr. Poem down towards Merck at this moment in time, and Rusted Bolt to the line goes into the top 4. It's a 1:29.281. He could be something. He could be a consideration in his championship fight, not in terms of being in it, but maybe being involved in helping his teammate. Who knows? Links piece into the pit, meaning his teammate Bad Boy will also fly round now. And where would the Red Bull fare here tonight? Currently P11, and he goes third fastest. What a time! A 29.181. It's a Red Bull second row lookout at the moment. But here comes Pesci. He doesn't go quickest. It's so close. 128.391. It's about half a tenth of a second. But Pesci misses out on pole position here tonight. And Gandalf crosses the line, remains 13th fastest. And it is the two Mercedes at the back. But it is Hazer who takes the championship point. And that is that for qualifying. Hazer has edged out Pesci as he has done effectively for the championship lead as well. Massive lap player for Hazer as Pesci misses out. But the two Red Bulls are looking pretty stern tonight. Bad Boy and Link's Piece as well. P3 and P4. Very good lap times from them. Rusted Bolt occupy P5 in the AlphaTauri. So the two AlphaTauris also are both up in the top 5. Then it's the Alfa Romeo Destroyer track. 6th fastest. Good effort from him. The Aston Martin on Mr. Poem comes in P7. The two Alpines. The two Dutchmen P8 and P9 for Tajani ahead of Coffee. Merck only managing the top 10 in the Williams. Then it is 11th for the Aston Martin of Steel Lane. P12 for the American driver Wizard Rex in the McLaren. P13 for Gandalf preserving in the Alfa Romeo. P14 and P15 are the two Mercedes of Kennedy and Yoshi. And that is qualified done, and let's see how we'll do heading into the race. Please remember 5-minute break before getting into this race. And it is raining. I was not told of this. I was not made aware whatsoever of the weather, but it is raining, and that may be why potentially some of the drivers may have gone a little bit more cautious than others. I do see I don't have to put it in the racing lounge. That is absolutely golden, but there you go. 5-minute break then, and best of luck to all the drivers in these conditions. And I'll be back in a few minutes' time. Right, and we are back then. We should be getting ready to start this race. We'll be told any moment now in the racing lounge, I'm sure. For the ready up, and then again I could probably just do it actually. Be a bit easier, wouldn't it? But there you go, so they should now be aware, they should all ready up. I'm being told that the rain is scheduled to dry up as well, so we should get some dry running later on in this event, which again could be critical for this event. But here we go then. It's 3 lights, it's 4 lights, and it's 5 lights. And the engines are firing up. It's taking a bit of time, but it's go, go, go! And what a blistering getaway from Hazer at the front, I see. Go on board with Pesci directly, but Hazer leads. Pesci and Lynx are going to go close. Lynx is slightly off track, or Bad Boy rather, and Pesci holds on to it. Tajani dropping to the back, and a safety car's been called out. Tajani has lost his entire front wing. Not ideal for the Alpine there. Again, didn't quite see it unfortunately, but there will be some position changes just trying to figure out who should be ahead of who at this moment in time in the game. But this does seem to be the pecking order then. But Hazer does hold on to his race lead, but again, the rain is scheduled to dry up later on. Of course, under the safety car, just got to make sure you do not go into the back of the driver ahead, or the race leader doesn't go into neutral or anything. Yeah, just got to make sure you stick with everything nicely. But yeah, Hazer, Pesci, Bad Boy, Lynx, Rusted Bolt remains your top 5. No position changes up there. Are there any position changes further back? All of the top 7 have stayed exactly where they started. But the big gainers tonight, Steel Aid up 3 places. He's up into P8. A great start from the Aston Martin. Up 1 spot, Merc into the top 10. That spot was pretty much Tajani. 1 place down is Coffee. So yeah, Coffee has lost Outland to, well, pretty much to both Steel Aid and Merc, but did take over Tajani. Up 4 is Yoshi, and up 2 is Kennedy. So the 2 Mercedes having decent starts. It's not a full course safety car, it was just a virtual. So we are back up and running then. Let's go. Then again, I could just keep the position changes, can't I? There's no point doing anything else, especially looks to have a little dive on Hazer. Doesn't go for it. Hazer goes a little bit wide, which will compromise him greatly. And here comes Pesci for the move, and Pesci takes the lead. But he goes wide. Hazer will take it back. Incredible drama on lap 1 as Hazer retakes the lead from Pesci. Incredible scenes in Sector 3 alone. Pesci took Hazer, but Hazer takes him back. Brilliant things going on here at the front then, and they will find these conditions tricky. And that is proof that the top 2 are not undeniable. What's happened to Pesci? Unbelievable. Did he make contact with Hazer? He may have done. He has messed it up, and he's down to P7. Wow. As Steel Aid has lost out towards Merc as well. This is getting very, very close between them, and off goes Destroyer Drac. Wow, nobody can manage to do Singapore in the rain. Singapore in the rain is mayhem for the drivers this evening. And further down the field, Coffee and Yoshi and Wizard all looking to go at it. Yoshi holds a place from Wizard. Coffee did get through. Yoshi almost making contact and grinding the wall, but he stays ahead of the McLaren driver. But a lot of drivers are struggling for the grip tonight. Again, perhaps unsurprisingly. Absolutely chaotic start right here. But let's see if Yoshi almost pushing the Alpine through here. He's not quite got the grip to go with it. Again, just struggling with a little bit of wheel spin. That could give Wizard Rex the advantage. But Pesci is trying to draw the line and going towards Destroyer Drac. Sadly for him, he's dropped 5 places as a result of that. But here he comes round the outside and having the inside line on the Alfa Romeo. This could be a splendid overtake, and it is indeed a brilliant move from Pesci. He done something quite similar, in fact, on lap 1 on Hazer. I still can't believe we've only done 2 laps here. It feels like we've done way more than that. We're only on lap 3, but Pesci has gone from P1 down to P7 and back up to P6 in these conditions. Quite a start then from the McLaren driver, but he's got some work to do. Next up, the Aston Martin of Steel Lane, but it is right now an AlphaTauri 1 and 2. Hazer clear, and keeping pace though is Rusted Bolt. I wonder if Hazer may use his teammate, but then that could be a bit tricky once it dries up as Bad Boy is into the pits. And Bad Boy will go on for another set of the intermediate tyres, so they're not changing tyres just yet. Hazer does go purple in sector 1 as well. Merck then is edging close towards Mr. Poem. They can't quite keep the pace with the AlphaTauri pairing, particularly Hazer, who was now beginning to drop Rusted Bolt. Again, a 3-second gap between the AlphaTauris could be a good thing here. Merck just wants to make sure he doesn't make slight contact here on a street circuit with the rear of Mr. Poem. Oh, that was shaky from the Aston Martin there. We saw that one, alright. We saw that one, but the Aston Martin just about stays out of the wall, and potentially into the wall goes Coffee. Yes, he does. He's into the wall and goes straight on. Straight on goes the Alpine then, but he's back up and running, but he's dropped some places here. Now we go back up towards Pesci, who will have a look on Steel Lane, as will Merck. On Poem, but down the inside goes Merck! On Poem, and he takes the podium away from the Aston Martin. A brilliant move, and here comes Pesci as well. The inside line on Steel Lane, and Pesci takes it round the final bend. And he's up into P5 now, and Pesci is making inroads. And here comes the Alfa Romeo of Destroyer Track, who will just about surely take this place. Didn't give us a great view there, but they are still side by side. Come Jack and Steel Lane. We can go directly on board with Kennedy for this one, because he will have the best seat in the house. And Hazer and Bolt, the gap between them is just half a second now, as Bolt is closing the gap. And they are still scrapping away up front though in this little battle. It's Steel Lane, Destroyer Jack and Kennedy all vying for P6. And let's go back with the broadcast view here. And can Destroyer Jack make a move? He's going to really try it, and let's see if he can do anything through into Stamford. Not quite. And now, can he get anything? What is yellow flags for Wizard Rex? Yellow flags for the McLaren of Wizard. He has dropped a couple of spots as a result. And back on board with Kennedy then, but does see Merck is gapping Mr. Poem here at over 1 second. And I will give the initiative to the McLaren of Pesci, currently in P5, but you've got to say, it has been an awful start from the Red Bull pairing. Lynx in P13 and Bad Boy in P14. Reminder, they both started onto the second row. So they're down to P13 and P14. Not a great start from those two. But I am sure, particularly Lynx Feast can make up some places still if there's a safety car. But he needs a safety car. And let's go on board with Pesci, no move there. And on board with Kennedy, no move to be made from him. So we go back to the McLaren of Pesci, who has been quick all race. And he's going to try and make a move. Repeat of the Tier 1 Championship battle last season. Pesci v Poem is back on the cards here for P4 at the Marina Bay this evening. And into turn 1 and into 2. No moves being formed here as we enter into turn 3 now. So they're still neck and neck now, these two. Pesci has been making a couple of moves. He did only drop down to, what, P7, so it's not been a great amount of moves, but in these conditions it is. I would have said the conditions are... They're not drying up, it's still raining lightly, but I don't think it's as heavy as what it was on lap 1, effectively. So Lynx P is now fastest up at 146.9, and into the pits goes the McLaren of Wizard Rex. And he will drop behind 1 Red Bull, potentially 2, although he does seem to be getting back into it though. So he has just dropped in between the 2 Red Bulls of Lynx and Bad Boy. And Bad Boy goes quickest as well, 145.807. So the two Red Bulls are quick this evening, but sadly for them, they are P12 and P14. So we stick with the McLaren of Pesci. Can he get any move done? Out of turn for 13 into 14. This will be a chance for the McLaren. He's going to try and see if he can do something, but he's not close enough. And Poem, with the traction, stays clear of the McLaren driver. What can Pesci do, however, as you get a nice exit and into turns 15 and into 16 now? Is Pesci close enough? Is he close enough? He was having a look down the inside, but he's not going for it. Yellow flags for the Alfa Romeo of potentially Gandalf. I do believe it is Gandalf who's had some struggles down at turn 14, sadly for him. But I think he is back up and running. Potentially may have lost some of his wing, you know. Going straight on at turn 14 effectively is what the Alfa Romeo has unfortunately done. But we are going to stick with this one. The gaps between those in the top 4 is quite substantial. But the closest battle is most certainly this one. As into the pits goes Coffee. So potential damage for the Alpine driver in P10 because he will drop places as Gandalf does stay out. So there was clearly no damage for Gandalf. And here comes Pesci though. Down the inside goes the McLaren. Has he got the move? Poem tries to hold it around the outside. He goes slightly off track. But Pesci does go through now. So Pesci's into P4. And now it's going to be an interesting scenario for the Aston Martins. Poem in P5. Steelane in P6. Has Poem gone for a better dry track setup? And has Steelane potentially gone for a wet setup? Because Steelane certainly seems to be matching his teammate. If anything, you could make a case that he could be a bit quicker at the moment. As he is closing up on his teammate. Again, I don't really understand why we have this view. But anyways, Tajani, 45.3, does go quickest at the moment. I'm not certain if that rain is clearing up as well, I've got to be honest. Maybe it's not. But this is a battle at the moment. Two Mercedes are reasonably close as well in the background there. Kennedy and Yoshi. Not quite Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. Then again, it will be a team without Lewis Hamilton for next year. But we shall stick with this one here as Steelane is starting to actually lose a bit of pace to his teammate. Destroy the track, you know, may have a chance. But we'll have to watch now for Pesci's pace on those intermediate tyres. Let's also see if he does gain anything on Hazer. 7 seconds. It has dropped by a tenth already. But we will keep watch of the gap to the leader just to see if there's any chance he can close that gap. And he is starting to a little bit. It's probably hovering around the same margin in all fairness. And you do get the impression that Hazer's perhaps not pushing the tyres too much. But the gap is still around 7 seconds in fairness to them, so they are hovering around the same lap times from what I'm seeing. Although Pesci is just starting to close by about a tenth or two now. Down to 6.8 seconds. Wizard Rex 44.856 on his fresh set of intermediate tyres. And now he goes quickest of all the drivers so far. Pesci is gaining, you know. He is slowly gaining. Not rapidly, but he's certainly gained by a few tenths of a second. In the space of 2 sectors, in all fairness, about half a second now. So we go on with the 2 Mercedes. Again, does Kennedy let his teammate through? I mean, Kennedy is battling in the championship for some good points this season. A good position is what he wants. Certainly looks as if he will get into the top 10. Whereas Yoshi, of course, has just started returning that. Okay, there you go. Maybe that's made it certain now. If Yoshi wants to place, he will have to fight for it. Because he does have a 3-second time penalty for the Mercedes of Yoshi in P9. Let's go back up then. Merkis, you know what? He is catching up to Russell Bolt. Since he made that move on Mr. Poem, it was a crucial move to make. Because he's now got the 2 AlphaTauris in his sights, but particularly Russell Bolt here. Let's see what Merc can do. Can he get through on the AlphaTauri? Because that AlphaTauri will defend hard. Because he knows Hazer is the one up ahead. Again, those 2 AlphaTauris are only separated by little over 2 seconds right now. Russell Bolt, if they get a box on the same lap, Russell Bolt needs a bigger gap than 2 seconds. He needs it really about 4 or 5 seconds. That would be a fair gap between them. Because if he wants to pit on that same lap, then he won't get held up if the gap is about 5 seconds. But at 2 seconds, it's a bit more risky perhaps. And who's the first driver who's going to pit? Hayes or Russell Bolt? That would be a question as well. You know, if Hayes decides to stay out, does Russell Bolt think, okay, I've got to take the risk and I've got a box? And also something to think about in these conditions, the rain is not going to clear up as quickly, just naturally, based on the fact it's at night time. You have no sun, and it's not going to dry up that quickly. Definitely saw it before at Las Vegas in a tier 2 race that I did. It took a very long time to clear up, and it could be a chance of it happening here. But that rain is certainly getting lighter. It may not seem like it, but on the naked eye, it does seem to be getting lighter out there on track. Let's go back up then towards Merck. Definitely closing in now on Rusted Bolt. And actually, I will go down because I see these two having a little ding-dong. It's Coffee and Bad Boy. Who gets the better exit? Yeah, it does seem to be Coffee, but the two... Let's see if Bad Boy does have a little look for an overtake. I don't think he will do. And I want to go back to the interval now and see, because I know Merck is very close. Bad Boy receives a 3-second time penalty. So that's his quest. Not over, but he still can make the move. He's not close enough now. I'll go back towards the front end with Merck and Rusted Bolt. Again, though, Rusted Bolt is closing the gap here. Yellow flags for Bad Boy, who has spun in Sector 3. And no, there will be no safety car, however. No safety car for the Red Bull. Back towards Merck we go. And let's see if there will be a chance for the Williams to make this move. But Rusted Bolt is still closing in on Hazer. So I don't know if this is strategic at all from Hazer or what is exactly going on here. Gandalf's out. That might be a safety car. It is a safety car. Can we go on board with Wizard Rex and see what that was all about? I didn't quite see it, but it was around this part of the track, sadly, from Gandalf. So he is out, heading on the exit of turn 8. So out goes the Alfa Romeo, and it's a virtual safety car, and in goes Hazer. Hazer is in. Rusted Bolt is in. This is interesting. Oh, it's a full course safety car. It has been upgraded to a full course safety car. And now if you're one of these drivers, well, the top two are, well, these two are staying out, Merck and Mr. Power, but most of them are seemingly going into the pits. I will give a little reminder that the fresher tyres will be far superior. Even in these conditions, they may not seem like they can be, but Kennedy is staying out as well. But he's just... Oh, is he ahead? Oh, has he taken Hazer? No, he didn't get through. It was very close between them. I wasn't too sure who would get who would be ahead. But Hazer was ahead of Kennedy. Kennedy was definitely pushing hard there to get that done. But both Mercedes have stayed out, which means Rusted Bolt and Pesci are behind both Mercedes drivers now. So the two Mercedes are definitely getting themselves involved in this one at the front end. Most of the drivers, unsurprisingly, are into the pit lane as well. And dry tyres, I'm seeing. Hazer's on hard tyres. Now, I will mention we have seen some strategic blunders this season from Hazer. I think you could argue most notably at the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard in Tier 1. Is this another one, or is this the perfect strategy? It does look like it's drying up pretty quickly, I've got to say. We shall see. I mean, yeah, we'll have to find out, really. And I guess the best time to find out is when they all get round. But what do these two up front do now? Do they both think that they have to box, or do they stay out? have to go on board of these two. Let's see what they do. And they both box. They do. Merc has ghosted. He's unghosted. Okay. Both are pitting then. They may have enough time though to get out in a decent position here. And both Mercedes also pit, so it is going to be an AlphaTauri 1 and 2 once more, but Pesci will be up in P3, it seems. Oh, it's soft tyres for Merc and Mr. P as well. Very interesting call. So it is definitely dry tyre running now. Clearly. Based on what all the drivers have done. As Mr. Poem gets very close to the wall there. Definitely don't want to make contact with that wall. And maybe Steve Lane didn't really want to push to overtake his teammate as well. Which again is quite smart. So. Right, very interesting though. So it is an AlphaTauri 1 and 2. Hazer on the hards, Rusted Bolt on mediums. But Rusted Bolt was certainly closing the gap to his teammate. But then again, as was the Williams of Merc. The big gainer out of all of this is Pesci. On the medium tyres now, and he has taken the place of Merc. And will be on the rear of the two AlphaTauris. And to be fair, the two Mercedes haven't lost that much. Kennedy P7, Yoshi P9. So they're not doing badly. They've got Destroyer Jack in between them. But then Liggs Peace P10 is his chance to do something now. Will DRS be enabled straight away after 3 laps? I believe probably it will be enabled. Still not completely dry though. We can see that quite conclusively that it's not fully dry, but it's definitely drying up. Definitely get some dry lines around here as well, but yeah, there will still be the occasional part of the track that is still quite damp. Looking like it going into the pit lane, it still looks a little bit on the damper side, but it definitely looks mostly dry on track now. So the safety car period, it has massively helped and given those drivers at the front end that advantage, and also those drivers who were struggling at the back have been given a chance to get themselves back into this race. Oh, look how far behind they are as well though. Tajani is about half a lap behind. And he's still got to close up on these guys at the front. That safety car is not going to hang around for much longer. I think it will be in this lap. Realistically, Tajani needs to close in this lap, otherwise him and that Red Bull, the bad boy, may be out of the picture. They have to close in. And they'll be going at near maximum pace just to close that gap now. In fact, I'm not sure if they've been using battery, but there's a potential chance they may have been using some battery. But I do think they may just about catch up now. They are edging closer, in fact. So Tajani's just heading now into turn 5. The safety car is now into turn 10. So a few corners are splitting them, but don't forget that's only where the safety car is. The most important thing is they get to the back of the safety car pack, which the McLaren of Wizard Rex has just done on his soft tyres, and now Coffee is doing on his hard tyres now, so he is on the rear, closing in on the rear of that group. So now it's just down to 2 drivers. Bad Boy and Tajani need to ensure they do catch up. Safety car is in this lap lane. So now the safety car is going to be in, and it is Hazer and Rusted Bolt at the front of that field. But these two will close in on that lead group. Let's go directly on board, or not directly on board, but the broadcast view with the AlphaTauri pairing of Hazer and Rusted Bolt. Let's have a little look on the telemetry as well. Make sure he goes at a suitable... I mean, the speed is sort of his choice effectively, but the most significant thing is not to go into neutral or anything like that. And there you go. He goes fairly early, in fact, quite early. Maybe nobody was expecting it. His teammate wasn't, because Pesci's all over him. Look how close the McLaren is. He is all over the rear of Rusted Bolt. They're both going to be using battery. Certainly, I think Rusted Bolt would have been. He goes a little bit wide as well. Pesci makes great contact with the Apex here. Apex Predator and entering in, also coming Merc, but Pesci will still look for the opportunity to make a move. Doesn't quite make it at this moment in time. We're out of turn 5, but on the run down into turn 6 and now into 7, Pesci draws alongside the AlphaTauri, and Pesci has the outside line, and Pesci overtakes the AlphaTauri. And now the AlphaTauri under threat from Merc, and through goes Merc. Merc is up into P3, and there could be a chance here for Mr. Poem, who just has to hold back, but he will get a good line as well. And Rusted Bolt is being swamped here by a host of drivers. Poem and a little look down the inside line, but Bolt goes slightly wide. Very close between the pairing. And we go back to this one. Steelane all involved. Steelane will get a good view of this. Oh, he gets a really good view of it. He couldn't get a much better view of it, as I thought he almost ran deep into his teammate. Doesn't quite do that, but Kennedy will get a chance on him as well. Kennedy hasn't looked down the inside. Steelane does leave the space, doesn't go for the overtake. It is a multi-way battle here, but Pesci has caught up to the rear of Hazer, and they go for the battle up the front with Merc in P3 as well. Let's go back up here with Bolt and Poem, but also keep an eye on this one. Steelane and Kennedy, are they going side by side? Not quite. Kennedy pulls out of the potential overtake here, and back with Poem, but down the inside, looks for the Mr. Poem on Russell. Bolt gets a little bit onto the curb, and Bolt stays ahead. Poem take the wider line. Two Aston Martins will feel they need to get a move on here on the AlphaTauri, or they will be at risk of losing out. And this gap is all the way down towards Destroyer Jack, but also Link's Piece is involved as well. Critical. Oh, what's happened in the back? Bad Boy, Yoshi. Yeah, just the two. It's Yoshi and Bad Boy have had something happen. They're both trying to figure out how to reverse an F1 car. But sadly, they have both had some form of collision. Either that or one of the drivers maybe hit a wall and the other got connected. Either way, something has occurred between them. And we go towards this battle as well. Destroyer Drac and Steelane, the inside line for Steelane. Drac holding it now, and Drac makes the overtake stick, does he? He does get onto the curb quite heavily, I saw. Link's Piece now has a look down here. That's a send. That's a mad send there from Link's Piece. That will be a penalty for the Red Bull driver. He has sent it on the Aston Martin of Steelane, and Steelane has no front wing to boot. Not ideal there, and that will certainly be a penalty for the Red Bull of Link's Piece. I think his championship dreams may be in tatters. The race not going his way, but also that incident will pretty much, you could argue, be that. I mean, he's still got a slim chance of it, but that will not benefit his chances. Steelane will definitely have to pit for repairs, sadly. And up to the front of the field end with Hazer, Pesci and Merc. 5-second penalty for Coffee in the pit lane. Just want to make sure, particularly if you're in, even if you're at the back, you don't really want to have to serve. Well, you want to serve the penalty if you can, but I'm more thinking you don't want to retire in the pit lane if you want to finish high up in the championship standings. I regret doing that at Bahrain in a way, but yeah, you know. Let's go back to this one then. Hazer, Pesci and Merc, they are flying at the moment. All separated by close margins, and Merc now within a couple of tenths of Pesci. Getting good exit as well. This could give him a chance, you know, for Merc. Don't rule him out of a potential move into turn 14, but he is just too far back. You see how close Pesci and Hazer currently lie. 2 tenths between them, but then only a few tenths further back is Merc, and this is a three-way battle right now. Kennedy receives his very own 3-second time penalty, and currently Kennedy in P6, so that won't bolster his hopes here. And this is an immaculate battle at the front then between Hazer, Pesci and Merc. Merc may be on his way, you know, to potentially moving up in the standings to P3 If he keeps up with a strong race and Lynx, let's say, does get that penalty, which you presume he will get that penalty on Steel Lane, he also caused a complete loss of front wing. That could effectively cause him to really close that gap to the Red Bull driver for P3 in the standings. I mean, from what I saw, I think it's got to be a guaranteed penalty to the Red Bull driver. The fact that he just... It's not the place to send it, really. Down the inside at the hairpin. It's just not the place to go for the overtake. And I mean, you can go for an overtake if you're already side by side. But he just wasn't. He was far enough behind already. Oh, get close at the front as well there. Pesci with Hazer. I mean, there's no other battle to watch here. It's got to be this battle at the front. It just has to be now, gliding their way again into turn 14. And don't forget, Pesci will be getting DRS. Merck will also be getting DRS as well. And that assistance may help them for a potential overtake here on the AlphaTauri of Hazer. They're all on different tyres as well, so Merck will need to box at some point. Maybe Pesci could as well. He may try and get to the end on those mediums. Hazer on the hard tyres will go to the end, or at least will be able to go to the end. But Pesci may feel he needs to get an overtake done here. As we stick on this direct view of Pesci, but Merck is beginning to lose some time at about 7, make it 0.8 of a second to the top 2, but Pesci will now begin to close this gap, but not enough. And in, oh, Bad Boy's retired on track. We didn't see it, but there's a full course safety car, and this opens up the pit strategies now, particularly for those on softs. Merck, Mr. Poem and Wizard Rex all could potentially go on a set of mediums or even hards if they so choose to do so until the end. And this makes it very challenging now for the likes of Hazer and Pesci, particularly Hazer. What does he do? Does he have to pit? He may feel like he has to pit here, and then Pesci as well may also feel like he needs to pit. I could make a case that everybody will pit here, because Hazer is the only driver in the top 8 on hard tyres, and I feel like right now he's going to want to go mediums. I think they're all going to pit. Surely. I know it's a lot of it is about track position, but you can overtake here. It's not impossible to overtake at Singapore. I think Pesci has most certainly proven that this evening, as have other drivers. Hazer's the only one who hasn't really had to make any moves here. And let's see, Hazer, late move into the pits. Quite late. Was it dangerous? Not really. Oh, he's got a penalty! It's a 5-second penalty. Did he get a drive-through as well? He got a drive-through! It's a 5-second penalty and a drive-through penalty for your championship leader, Hazer. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And it's not really a strategic blunder, but it is a strategic blunder in a way. Drama. Absolute drama from Hazer here. How on earth has he managed to do that? To get himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit, and also get a drive-through penalty as a result. That is absolute madness. Championship leader. And, I mean, that's going to send them right to the back of the field. Once he serves that penalty. Yeah, Bad Boy, just send in your clips, mate. Send it in through the incidents. But yeah, what has happened here with Hazer? That's mad as that. I mean, he's behind Link's piece, but that doesn't really mean anything for Hazer now because of that penalty. And somehow, some way, it is Pesci's race to lose. With no penalties on the cards for the McLaren. Wow. This race has proper flipped. And this has given him a great chance. Merck has a glorious chance. Poem has a great chance of a podium as well. Is that a podium right there? Russell Bolt may still get through as well. destroy a track. You know, there's a few good drivers who may still get a chance for a podium, but Hazer, I mean, it's not just got work to do. He has got, I mean, I don't even know what to say. That is more than just a little bit of work to do. He has got an incredible, substantial amount of work to do now. I mean, that is madness. To get a drive-through and a 5-second penalty. Can you serve that 5-second penalty now? Yes, he is. He was quite smart to do that, to be fair. So you will go potentially for fresh mediums. Let's see what he decides to do. Does he have fresh mediums available? If he's got fresh mediums, I'm sure he'll go fresh mediums. But obviously he's got to serve that 5-second penalty. Yeah, he's going to go for fresh medium tyres then, Hazer. 5-second penalty that he is serving. So it is smart, to be fair to him. And now he's trying to get out of the pits. He wants to get out ahead of the Mercedes, but he's not going to do it. He wants to get out ahead of the Aston Martin. He is not going to do it. And unfortunately for Hazer, he is in P12 with a drive-through penalty still to serve. And that is... it's not race done for him. It's not race over. If he gets another safety car, he has got a chance. But it's definitely not beneficial to his race, is it? Now it's making things very interesting at the front, because again, Link's Piece, 9 laps on his hard tyres, going to try and get them to the end. I mean, they will go to the end, but can he compete with Pesci, Merck, Poem, Kennedy, Drac, Bolt, Wizard, Tajani? That will be a struggle. I mean, not just them, of course. You got Yoshi, Steve, Hazer, maybe, if he can get through. After he served his penalty, obviously, and then Coffee as well, of course. Let's go up to the front then with Link's Piece and just see when he decides to go. Will he opt to go on the run into turn 15, similar to what Hazer has been doing? No, he has not. So he's not going early. To be fair, he may hold out for as long as possible. Don't forget he's on the older tyres. He'll be fully aware of that, but he does go now on the run through to turns 18 and 19. But does Pesci get him straight away? Not quite. He doesn't go all out for it. So Pesci will stay in behind. Link's Piece riding the curb. Pesci will see that. He knows he has got the greater grip. And here comes Pesci looking around the outside, but not quite going for the overtake, and sticks in behind down at turn 5. And now, can Pesci go for the move? I'm sure he may think about using his battery to overtake the Red Bull driver here. And he is all over the Red Bull driver here. And he's around the outside of the Red Bull driver. And there's a bit of contact between them. Quite aggressive defending there from Link's Piece. He's already got 1 penalty. Doesn't really want to get a second penalty in this Grand Prix. I'll say he's got 1 penalty. I'm pretty certain he's got 1 penalty coming his way. So again, doesn't want to get a second. And let's see what happens then between Pesci and Lynx. Tricky hairpin this one. We want to make sure you get it right, brake at the right time. Let's see everybody. Hopefully we'll get through fairly nicely. And here's another chance then for Pesci on the run through to turn 14. Does he go for it around the outside? He will have a look. Will he hold it? He's got to be careful. He's lost the spot to Merck. Through goes to Williams. Unbelievable. Poem's got a chance as well. Bit of race lead. Here comes Merck around the outside of the Red Bull. Side by side come Merck and Lynx. Potential contact, nothing major. Merck takes the place. Pesci back up into P2 as well. Absolutely drama here. But Merck and Pesci go through. And here comes Mr. Poem. Round the outside on Link's Piece. Horrible view that we have got, but Poem takes the place as well, and up onto the podium goes the Aston Martin. What does Kennedy have to say about this? What does Drac have to say? Can these guys get themselves through? Hazer serving his drive-through penalty now. He has got a way to go to get himself back up the field with about 10 laps remaining. But it is these two then, Merck and Pesci putting away. And now we go down as Kennedy destroyed Drac again. A little bit of contact between them. I think Drac has taken the place. But there was certainly contact. I'm not sure who enforced the contact there. But there was contact, but Destroyer Drac does take the place of the Mercedes. He would effectively have taken it anyway because of Kennedy's penalty. But Drac now into the top 5. Let's see what the likes of Wizard, Jarny still there, Steel Lane as well. All doing as they are heading down into the hairpin. Out of turn 13 now. Do any of these guys have an opportunity to make a move? What about Destroyer Drac? He will know Link's piece, or may know Link's piece, is on the older tyres here. But then again, he will definitely know Link's piece is struggling on his tyres, and Drac will definitely be awake and make a move into turn number 16, and he does try and do it. Will he deliver it? Yes, he will. And that will compromise Lynx's exit because Kennedy will see himself with a chance. And they're all flying through. Merck has the race lead ahead of Pesci by a 1/10 of a second between them. But there's a chance here. And Bolt making a move on Kennedy. He does hold it. Bolts up into P6. Another brilliant overtake there. And this time from Rusted Bolt. And the Lithuanian is now being attacked by the Mercedes, who has a look down the inside. Holds off into turn 5. And now the Lithuanian Rusted Bolt can have a look on Link's piece, and he will overtake Link's piece. No fight back from the Red Bull. Through goes Bolt, and into the top 5 he goes. A great race for the two AlphaTauris. It looked like it would have been anyways, if it weren't for Hazer's drive-through penalty and 5-second time penalty as well. And Kennedy also taking a place of Link's piece up into P6. All this squabbling, it will help Hazer though close in, because that gap is hovering just under 16 seconds, and again now is at about 15 seconds. He is rapidly making inroads now, Hazer. He's still got a chance here. As Yoshi's out, is that the chance he needs? It's a virtual safety car. That's not what Hazer needs. He really needed a full course safety car here. It's only a virtual, which will not benefit Hazer whatsoever. But Yoshi is out the race. Tajani has a 5-second time penalty. Where is Tajani? There, P7. Right, let's see what they all do then. Pesci stays out. I mean, I would imagine the majority of the field will stay out. DRS back on, enabled, and we're going back racing now. But that has held up Hazer. 20 seconds behind now was Hazer. And then again, that delta is going down quite. Look how quickly that delta is going down to Hazer now. 17.5 seconds. He's getting 2.5 seconds through a matter of about 2 or 3 corners. I'm sure that a lot of that would have been due to the virtual safety car, but still he's closing in very quickly here. And Wizard Rex now making a swooping move on Lynx. Lynx trying to hold it on Coffee. I think he's made a massive error though, Lynx, in opting to try and stay out on his hard tyres. Coffee does now go through and Steel Lane will see himself with a chance to make the move on the Red Bull driver. And it will now send Lynx piece to the back, which he doesn't really fight it in fairness. I get the impression I know why he didn't fight it. The only driver that Lynx in fairness didn't fight there was Steel Lane, and you can certainly understand why. He did actually give that place up. It doesn't really mean that much for Steel Lane. You know, Steel Lane will feel he should be a lot higher. But the wing damage, obviously, oh, very close here between Tajani and Kennedy. I think Tajani has made the move stick, however, but can Kennedy fight it back? As I look down on the inside, is he going to try and hold it? He does. Tajani with the space, and he holds it very nicely there, the Alpine, but may have gone a little bit into the wall. Pesci with the fastest lap, but a gap hovering around a second to Merck. Merck has lost ground on the McLaren driver now. And Lynx piece receiving a 3-second time penalty. I mean, how this race has ran away from Hazer, it's absolutely crazy. So Steel Lane now is closing in on Coffee. Hater to set the fast lap of 1:31.4. I mean, again, it's not going to mean too much in terms of him closing up to those ahead. But here comes a side-by-side squabble, and Steel Lane now does take the place of Coffee, and up into P9 goes the Aston Martin. A good race from the Aston Martin pairing. I know Steel Lane, obviously, with that incident with Lynx, definitely on the wrong end of the incident, sadly, for his perspective. And what I mean by that is he got the front wing damage through no fault of his own, but Mr. Perm P3, Steel Lane P9, it is a decent points hold for the Aston Martin duo. Back towards this one. Wizard Rex now was wanting to make the pace. He's going to go round the outside of the Mercedes here. As Wizard Rex cannot quite hold it here on Kennedy. But he's going to have another look in here. There may be a chance at a turn 16 for Wizard Rex. He will go round the outside of the Mercedes. They are side by side, but I think again Kennedy has held it nicely. But here comes Wizard again. Oh, that was close to the wall. I don't know if he knew there was going to be a wall there, but there definitely was. He almost collected it. But he's now going to try and make this move down the inside of the Mercedes driver. And through goes Wizard Rex. And up into P7 he goes. Kennedy, don't forget, on the hard tyres. Not sure that strategy was the best way to go. I think mediums would have been better for him. But either way, Wizard Rex now up into P7. And there's no time penalty as well for Wizard Rex. And there's no battery to speak about for Kennedy. And down the inside goes Kennedy, having a look on the Mercedes, on the McLaren rather. But again, has to hold back. This may give Steel Lane a little bit of a chance, knowing that Kennedy's line would have been a little bit compromised. He will have to hang in behind Coffee as well, just hanging down there in P10. We'll know that a couple of drivers ahead will have penalties, surely. The gap's quite large though between all of those in the top 7. It's really just this battle going on between Wizard, Kennedy, Steel Lane and Coffee. But Hazer is still closing the gap now to Lynx Peace. The gap is just over 6 seconds between Lynx and Hazer, and Lynx has a penalty worth 3 seconds. So I think Hazer will be able to get Lynx Peace, but then can he get any of these in the top 10? We shall see. I think we will have a new championship leader after tonight though. Unless penalties play a part, which in fairness they could still play a part. But if there are penalties, it could bring Hazer a bit closer towards Pesci. And now down the inside into turn 1 goes Coffee on Steel Lane. A little bit of contact between them, however. And Coffee is ahead. Not sure who would be to blame for the contact between them. I've got to say there have certainly been a few bits of contact tonight. Not normal. Not what we usually see. Yes, certainly there have been some occasional pieces of contact. Let's see what Steel Lane can do then. Again, it's just got Coffee up ahead. Coffee having made that move prior, but can Steel Lane get himself back into P9? Hazer still closing the gap a little bit towards them as well. He's about 3.5 seconds behind Lynx Peace. Oh, a little bit close there goes Steel Lane to Coffee. If these guys can work together, they can keep Hazer at bay, but if they don't work together, Hazer will close up. Rusted Bolt also is now closing in on Destroyer Jack. The gap is just under 1 second for P4. A direct look at Coffee here then, as he is really closing in on Kennedy, showing some good pace late in the race here, Coffee. And now, can he get the move done on Kennedy into turn 1? Will he hold out on the exit of turn 5 into turn 6 and 7? Well, he may have a look down the inside. He will have a look down the inside into turn 1. I think the Mercedes is just going to hang out ahead. Steel Lane's having a look. It goes incredibly wide though, the Aston Martin. He is out of that running for now, but Coffee will be all over the rear of the Mercedes. I think Coffee will feel he can get ahead on the rundown. Let's see if he can get ahead into turn 7 then inside or outside line. He's going to have a look down the inside. Does he stay down the inside? Yes, he does. But to be fair to the Mercedes, there was contact afforded. And now enter Steel Lane. He goes for the move. He gets the move. It's job done. Brilliant stellar driving from Steel Lane. He saw an opportunity and he takes it with both hands. Through goes the Aston and up into P9. Big move and re-overtaken. Coffee, he needed that one. Having lost the place earlier on a couple of laps ago to Coffee, he had to get it, and he does get it. Hazer has overtaken Link's Peace now, and is up at P11, and he is within 3 seconds of this pack for P8. Don't rule out Hazer of a top 8 finish here. He may still get all of them, and Steel Lane and Kennedy, certainly you may get all of them if they keep battling like this. We go directly on board here with Coffee and see what the fun is all about here. Kennedy had a little look round the outside. He's going to have another look on Steel Lane. And let's see heading round at turns 18 and now it's turn 19. Will anybody get a chance here? Hazer continuing to close that gap. They all have DRS. All struggling for a battery here. And Coffee doesn't quite go for the move on Kennedy and stays in behind. I will quickly go briefly up the field towards Russell Bolt here as he's looking for the move on Destroyer Jack, but cannot get it. Destroyer Jack defends it very well to stay in P4. Back down the field then towards Steel Lane, Kennedy and Coffee, but Hazer is almost within a second. He's within touching distance now. Is the championship leader of Hazer. Let's stick at it here with, oh, very close again goes Coffee, but Hazer is still getting closer now. Within 1 second is the AlphaTauri driver. And this is all over P8. It's Steel Lane, Kennedy, Coffee and Hazer all vying for position now. And we have got a little over 3 laps remaining. It does look like Pesci will come away with the win. Merck looks set for P2. Mr. Poem looks set for a podium. Up the field as well, Rusty Bolt is edging miraculously close here towards Destroyer Jack. He won't go for the move just yet. On the run down to turn 16. But it's a big opportunity for the AlphaTauri. Speaking of big opportunities, Hazer is right behind, and I'm trying to watch the Delta very closely. I may have to switch away from this battle. I think I just about will need to switch away because Hazer makes a move down here and he goes off track. I mean, I've never seen somebody go off track quite like that, but he does lose both places as a result. I was wondering how he was able to get so close. But he did go off track, but he does give the places back to both Kennedy and Coffee. And now there will be a chance. I'm going to go quickly up to Russell Bolt here because he goes down the inside on Destroyer Jack. And it's a big move for the AlphaTauri to turn 7. And he does make it stick into the memorial corner. And here through goes the AlphaTauri. But we're going to have to drop it down again because Coffee, Hazer, all going to look at moves. Coffee around the outside, little bit of contact. Off goes one of the Mercedes. And through goes Hazer into the top 10. Kennedy losing out on not just Coffee but Hazer as well. And now Hazer's into the top 10. Next up will be Coffee for him. And don't worry, he won't be drinking it. But now Coffee, oh look, he's tapped the wall. Hazer certainly tapped the wall. Does he have any damage? Don't see any damage on the rear of Coffee for Hazer's front wing, so he may just about be okay. But let's see here if Hazer looks for a move. Jack is still very close to Bolt. Tajani is right there with them as well. I think Tajani has a 5-second penalty, so he will lose a place to Wizard Rex. So it's looking like a strong haul of points for the McLaren now. We stick with this battle on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix for Pesci in the race lead. But what can Hazer do? Can he get himself a place? Coffee has lost DRS on Steel Lane. This could be Hazer's chance of glory or something major. Can he take the Dutchman? He's going to use all of his battery. And he will have a look down the inside, but he holds back. And the old Hazer would have gone for that move. The new Hazer doesn't go for that move. Let's see now on the run through into turn 5 as well. Hazer will know he has got DRS on Coffee. Does Coffee have DRS? No, he doesn't. And this should be set in stone now for the AlphaTauri. Side by side come Hazer and Coffee. Coffee cannot fight it. Through goes Hazer, and now he's into P9. Can he get one more place? And that could be the place of Steelane on the final lap potentially. Or then again, it could still be on this lap, who knows? Plenty of time left on this lap to get a move done here from Hazer. And Steelane will be feeling a little bit uncomfortable right now, knowing he has got Hazer behind him. If I was Steelane, in all fairness, I may not try and fight Hazer too much, because his key battle is really with Coffee. Make sure you beat Coffee. Realistically, you're not really going to be beating Hazer here. Tajani is all over the rear of Destroyer Drac as well for P5, but again, Tajani will have that penalty to serve. And now Hazer is looking around the outside, and this will be an inside line, don't forget. It will be critical, and Steelane is trying to fight it with all his nerve, all his power, but into turn 16, Hazer sails through, and Hazer's now into P8. Big points gained for Hazer then, after dropping down to P12 with that drive-through penalty. You know, one thing I am shocked about was that Link's piece has not boxed for a fresh set of soft tyres to push for a fastest lap. Because a bonus point could have been good for him. It just looks like he's only going to finish in P12. But either way there, so Hazer gets the move done, and that should be it then for that battle, unless Coffee could take Steelane for P9, which still could be on the cards here. I will keep watch of that one, but I'm here now with Rusted Bolt, Destroyer Drac and Tajani, and this is for P4, and not very long until I will have to sail away from this battle even, just to go to the dominant race winner, which will be Pesci in a few moments time, but I have to stick with this one. And I don't see a move being made here on the run through into turn 14, and let's see what their exit is like, particularly from Drac and Bolt. I don't think Tajani needs to be involved that much, although then again, he is going to try and take the place, but we go to the winner. Pesci wins at the Marina Bay at Singapore. Again, it's been a dominant display since the safety car from the McLaren. It could have been Hazer, but it was certainly Pesci who powers through. Merck takes a sensational P2, and into P3 goes Mr. Poem. Rusted Bolt P4, Drac takes P5, Wizard does take P6 ahead of Tajani. Hazer with a comeback drive, but it's not enough for him. It's P8 and only P8. The championship lead goes back to the McLaren of Pesci. So Pesci is back up into the lead. I mean, it's a ding-dong battle for sure. Steelane P9, he edges out Coffee, who takes P10. Kennedy only P11. At the end, those hard tyres were not the right tyre to be on. And the final finisher will be the Red Bull of Link's Piece. Before Kennedy's tyres were stuffed, Link's Piece's tyres were even worse. And coming through the field now. Oh, well, wait, at least he hasn't DNF'd. He could just reverse back, I guess. He needs to just finish the race. Just finish the race. That would have been, if he DNF'd from now, wow. Either way, Link's does finish, and I think it's P12 for the Red Bull driver, and indeed it is. But congratulations once again, Pesci is on top of the podium. And Merck takes the in-game driver of the day. That driver of the day will be an interesting one. Who will take it in our vote? Pesci would obviously be in there, Merck would obviously be in there. Those two put in some stellar drivers this evening. So we just wait for the loading screen to continue. Might take a little bit of time, this loading screen. Any time this evening. Oh look, it's 2025 and we're still on the loading screen. And again, you're going to wonder, why are we still on F123? Anyways, there you go, Pesci now. On top of the podium in 2025, shall we say. I'm joking, obviously. Pesci, Merck and Mr. Poem. We did indicate that could be the podium. I mean, it was quite clear to me that that was a potential podium opportunity for all three of them after the safety car, particularly after Hazer's penalties. The drive-through penalty and the 5-second penalty as well. But there you go. Pesci, Mr. Poem and Merck all on the podium, with Merck in P2, Poem P3 and Pesci on top once again. Right, we'll go through the full results then. Okay, I've got to wait for this entire... I mean, this is a lengthy wait. I've never known a game to take this long just to wait on stuff. You actually have to wait for this 30-second countdown. Wow. Oh look, it's raining again. Oh wow, look, really? I mean, it didn't even let me look at the results. Wow, that's ridiculous. But anyways, again, Pesci has won the race, so I can confirm that much. But yeah. So that has been your UFRL race tonight in Tier 1 and at Marina Bay. Let's go through what we have for the rest of this week. Let's get the race calendar up because that is particularly important to have a look what we can do. So tomorrow night, Tier 2, I know where that is, and that is at the Street to Monaco. So feel free to have a little watch of that one. 8 o'clock PM, I will be racing in that one as well. But yeah, Tier 2, Monaco will be tomorrow night. Wednesday night for Tier 3, and it will be a sprint at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Big race there at Interlagos. One of the typical fan favourites as well. And then the 100% tier on Friday night, and it will be at the Hungarian Grand Prix for that one. So again, an intriguing track. I mean, typically a downforce track, so overtakes could be few and far between. But then again, we can get overtakes anywhere. And then the international tier on Saturday night, and that will be held at Silverstone at Great Britain, of course. And then we go back to Tier 1 next week, and it will be held at Bahrain. So round 1 of a typical calendar for Formula 1, where Bahrain will be heading for UFRL, typical where they'll also be heading not too long now in the real life season, just a couple of months away. Anyways, we have been UFRL, I have been Viva. Thank you for watching, and good night.